Welcome to r/Am I the A-hole, where OP calls her stepsister the ugly stepsister. Damn! And stick around for more drama-filled Am I the A-hole, such as OP ruining her sister-in-law's bachelorette party, and OP expecting his wife to financially support his parents. Am I the a-hole for calling my stepsister the ugly stepsister because she freaked out over a nickname? My female 29 family jokingly refers to me as princess/the princess because I have a reputation for being opinionated and sensitive. This is mostly because of sensory issues, so certain noises or textures grate on me to an extent that I will leave the room or avoid touching things. I'm also just a picky person and I like things how I like them, so my stepdad started referring to me as the princess, like, don't open the car window, the princess will get upset. My stepbrothers and mom use it as well. It's a running family joke, well meant. I've never been offended by it in the 15 years it's been a thing. My stepsister Georgia, female 30, hates it. She used to snap whenever anyone said it, but over the years she just started making the odd passive-aggressive comment about it. Everyone ignores it because Georgia has a habit of thinking everything is about her, and if it's not about her, the reason it's not about her is because we all hate her, which then is still about her. So our whole family is visiting my parents in the countryside for a couple of weeks. Georgia has brought her boyfriend Jason along. I've met Jason a couple of times before at dinners, and he's a nice guy, and he fits in well. This morning, me and my mom were making breakfast, and Jason came down to help out. We normally have breakfast in the kitchen/diner, so eventually everyone started gathering at the table. We always make the tea and coffee last so it's hot when we eat, and we had all the mugs out and Jason offered to help make the drinks. I told him not to do mine because I liked it made a very particular way, and he said, "Okay, princess, I will just watch how you do it so I know for the next time." And we laughed. It was a joke. The next thing we know, Georgia shouts she's sick of everyone calling me that. She then swore at Jason for being just like them. She said, "Since everyone thinks I'm so special, what does that make her?" And I replied, "The ugly stepsister, obviously." No one said anything, but Georgia burst into tears, pushed her plate onto the floor, broke it, and went upstairs, and Jason ran after her. He's since come down to apologize for her. She hasn't come out of her room. My stepbrothers are on my side. The parents say I should have just not said anything and she would have calmed down, and that I went too far picking at an insecurity. That might be true, but I'm sick of her making everything about her. The joke doesn't have anything to do with her, and I am, as are my stepbrothers, sick of her acting out to force everyone to behave how she wants them to. So the Reddit thread labeled her as the a-hole. While I do think OP is a little bit of an a-hole, I think this whole situation is just an everyone sucks here. For starters, I don't know if you guys caught this, but OP and Georgia's ages are 29 and 30. I was like, oh yeah, these are like two kids in high school. Maybe one of them's in college, you know, still that immature age. But then I had to like backtrack and reread their ages. I was like, dude, grow up. This is just not something that a 29 and a 30-year-old should get in a fight over. And when I say everyone sucks here, I think it applies to the parents as well. Like, clearly if their kids are like this, they didn't do something right while they were parenting. I'm guessing for Georgia, this is stemming from like a deep-rooted childhood trauma that she feels the need to lash out about still in her 30s. And don't get me wrong, OP is clearly delusional as well. She's talking about how Georgia is making everything about her and how she's sick of it. But literally the first 3 paragraphs, we're talking about how OP always makes everything about her. I'm guessing all of this isn't just stemming from the nickname, it's stemming from the behavior and how the whole family treats it, which is why, yes, OP is an a-hole, but I think everyone sucks here. I think everyone needs therapy. Send them to family therapy. As always, I want to know what you think in the comments below about this post or any other posts. Am I the a-hole for completely ruining my future sister-in-law's bachelorette party? My 28 female life and my parents' marriage was ruined because of an MLM. What happened was my mother joined a supplement MLM, got way into it, drained both my and my brother's, 33 male, college funds, and went into tens of thousands of dollars of debt to maintain her rank. When my father was injured and had to take some time off work, the house of cards she built came tumbling down. We went from a loving home with 2 parents, a nice house in the suburbs, and at least $20,000 in a college fund to our parents divorcing because she refused to leave the MLM, having to live in a crappy basement in our grandparents' house, and facing the reality of taking student loans if we want to go to college, as well as having to work as young teens to help provide for our family of 3. So suffice to say, I hate hate MLMs with a passion. Now, to the situation. My brother is marrying his fiancée, 29 female, of 4 years in 2 weeks. Last Saturday, I was invited to her bachelorette party. She said that she wanted a low-key night at her home with some food, some alcohol, and some fun games. I get there, and including her, there are 14 other women. 3 of them are my cousins who are 19 and 18. After I arrived, I was the last one there because I live 3 hours away. One of the women stood up and said that the fun can now begin. Then she dragged a chest of sex toys and started pitching us her MLM. From the get-go, she said that my sister-in-law agreed to host, and at the end of the night, depending on how much we got, she will get some money to help with her honeymoon. I was fuming. She knew how much both I and my brother hate MLM, so I just stood to leave. Then I told my cousins to grab their bags and follow me. They tried to stop me, sister-in-law and MLM hun, but I just said that we had to leave. But then I couldn't just leave the other woman to be preyed on. So I went on a rant about MLMs, how scammy they are, how I bet after plying them with alcohol, they will be pressured into buying stuff they didn't want, as well as into joining this pyramid scheme. My sister-in-law was teary by then, screaming at me to just leave and that I ruined her bachelorette party. I grabbed my cousins and left, and while I feel a bit bad about ruining her night, I did not feel bad about standing to a scammer at all. My brother says that while he completely understands where I come from and that he had a really big fight with her, I should have just left with my cousins without ruining the night altogether. This one's hard for me because a part of me wants to go with not the a-hole, and I think that's what the Reddit thread actually went with, but also a part of me wants to go with you're an a-hole just because it's this woman's bachelorette party. I mean, whatever she wants to do with the bachelorette party should be what's done with the bachelorette party. Like, I kind of agree with the brother a little bit. They should have just got up and left and not said anything. I don't know. Can I make up a new label? Like, everyone kind of sucks here. Not enough to be an a-hole, but enough to be like, maybe I don't want to hang out with you. The sister-in-law clearly did not communicate that this MLM party was going to happen. Otherwise, OP wouldn't have gone in the first place. And that's something they should have definitely communicated. The MLM chick is just an a-hole because she's pushing an MLM. And then OP stood up for her values and expressed her opinions on MLMs, which is a good thing, I think, but you can also do that in an a-hole way. And I would say this one leans a little bit more towards the a-hole way. Anyways, I'm just making up my own rules. Everyone kinda sucks here, but definitely let me know what you think in the comments below. And hey, if you're still here, that probably means you're enjoying the video or you're a psychopath. Either way, hit the subscribe button down below so you can see my videos every single week. Am I the a-hole for expecting my wife to support my elderly parents? My wife has a high-paying job and earns significantly more than I do. I work as a teacher and make around $40,000 while she works in a private sector and makes about $300,000 to $400,000 after tax. We split our finances equitably, with her paying 70% to my 30%. A little background, her parents both immigrated to this country so she and her sisters could succeed in life, and now all have very high-paying jobs, one working in tech and the other being a surgeon. Meanwhile, my parents worked government jobs, and my sister lives on benefits, so we are a relatively low-income family. My wife did help my younger sister when she became a single mother at a young age by offering her a secretary job at her office, but my sister quit after a month as she found it too difficult, which I can understand as she was raising a baby on her own. Recently, her parents retired, and she and her sister give them around $2,000 every month, which I find ridiculous. They have pensions. Why do they need $6,000? She assured me this money does not come out of our joint account. However, when I brought up that my parents were also retired and could use the help, she told me that if I could afford to send it from my own salary, I should. I was shocked and angry. My parents only had me to depend on while her sisters made a lot of money, so her parents would be fine either way. My wife told me her parents sacrificed a lot by moving to this country. It is her responsibility and my parents should be my responsibility. She says that I'm being an a-hole for asking her to support my parents when she has never put pressure towards me for not contributing more to our household. We had a similar argument before about loaning my sister some money to put a down payment on her house, but my wife said she would not use her money as she thinks my sister is unreliable and won't pay her back. I just don't understand how she can be so cheap because she earns so much more than me. On the Reddit thread, they labeled OP the a-hole. I'm guessing people are going to hate me for this. I was raised on my values, and this is just my opinion. When you marry someone, you're not just marrying them, you're marrying their family, which is why I want to go with everyone sucks here. Like, I don't think OP should expect his partner to pay, but that's definitely a conversation they should have had before they got married. When you marry someone, their parents become your parents and vice versa. And I think those relationships should bleed down equally on both sides as much as you see fit, right? So like if they would have had a conversation and she would have said, this is how it should be, should we still get married? And he agrees to that, then yes. But personally, I would never want to marry someone like this. If I'm like the wife and I'm making a ton of money, I want to not only support my parents, but my spouse's parents. And vice versa, if I was in OP's situation, I would want my spouse to treat my parents as if they were her parents. Especially in this case where she could definitely afford to support even just a little bit. I don't know, I think that just comes down to values and how you were raised. I know my mom did incredible things for my grandpa on my dad's side who had a lot of health issues, and that's very much bled down into my definition of family and in my opinion how it should be. But let me know in the comments your experience and your opinions. I always like to hear it. I'm always okay with admitting I might be wrong. Am I the a-hole for buying my son a car but not my daughter? I, 47 male, made the same promise to my two kids, Ronan, 21, and Lana, 18. I told them that if they graduated high school with above a 3.5 GPA, I would buy them a new car in addition to a graduation gift. Ronan absolutely rocked high school. He was his class valedictorian, played 3 sports, was captain of the debate team, participated in model UN conferences frequently, was on the student council, and volunteered extensively. He now goes to an Ivy League school with a generous scholarship. Of course, he more than met my requirement, and I bought him a nice car that he chose. Lana, on the other hand, struggled. She needed tutoring all 4 years and barely had any extracurriculars. I'd never say this to her face, but I'm just relieved that she graduated at all. I'm proud of her for working so hard to pass her classes, but she mostly got D's and C's and plans on going to our local community college that basically takes anyone. Unfortunately, she didn't get a high enough GPA to meet my requirements. I did get her a nice graduation gift, but it wasn't nearly as expensive as Ronan's car. When the end of the school year rolled around, Lana started showing me different used cars that she would like. I assumed that she was planning on buying one for herself and wanted my advice, so I worked with her to find one in good condition at a fair price, and she finally picked one out. The trouble came about 2 weeks after she made a decision about her car. She came to me and asked whatever happened to that car I wanted. I was confused and said, I don't know, did you buy it? From there, we both became more and more incredulous until it came out that she'd expected me to buy the car for her. Apparently for years, she had assumed that my promise to buy her a new car if she got a certain GPA meant that I would buy her a used car regardless of her academic accomplishments. She accused me of favoritism and misogyny and said that if Ronan had failed school, her words, like she had, I would have still bought him a car because he's my favorite and also a boy. This is not and was never the case. If she had just asked, I would have made this clear to her. Lana went to the rest of the family with some sob story about favoritism, and now, nearly a month later, my sister, brother, and parents have all chipped in to get Lana a used car. Everyone who chipped in has been very distant to me and Ronan. I've tried to explain myself, but no one will give me the time of day. Ronan is the only one who doesn't think I'm a misogynist and a terrible father. Am I the a-hole? I'm not even trying to be a problem or controversial here, but I've disagreed with like every decision that the Reddit threads have made on the post in this video. And this is another one where I disagree. Everyone labeled the dad as the a-hole, saying that they should have cut the daughter some slack. Some people aren't as academically gifted. I would disagree. I honestly think this is good parenting. He set the boundary. He set the level. 3.5 GPA or nothing. Do I agree with 3.5 GPA being the only requirement that a kid should be able to live up to? Absolutely not. But I kind of get it. It can directly correlate to how much the parents are contributing to college. He set his level. The daughter clearly knew that level and she just didn't meet it. It's honestly wrong of her to expect that the dad is just gonna crumble. I don't know, maybe I'm an a-hole, but I think that's just good parenting. Teaching your kids that there are things you gotta work to in life. I actually think it would have been worse for the daughter if he just handed her this car on a silver platter. That being said, when I have kids, I want to set up something like this for them, but it's not going to be completely GPA based. Don't even get me started about grades and the school system and how stupid it all is. I also think 3.5 is a little too high, but hey, his house, his rules. That's all the Am I the A-hole post I had for you today. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Go watch another one of my videos here. Go watch my podcast here. I will see you guys next week.